ever Local Schools Network live interview. So this is a really exciting moment for us, and we're delighted to be here talking to you. So should we just get straight to it?
Yes.
I think quite a lot of people who come on the Local Schools Network, I think a lot of them are teachers, will want to know a bit about you first of all. How did you get into teaching? Something about your background.
Okay, well, I've been a teacher since 1987, which is extraordinary. I grew up in a town in Surrey. I went to a comprehensive school there myself, and a sixth form college. I went to do a university degree in physics. Wasn't sure what to do. I wanted to just hang around as a student. Got a bursary for being a physics teacher to do a teacher training course. I thought that would keep me going. Yeah. And then I did it and I got a job at a sixth form college in Wigan, of all places. Because coming from Farnham and then working in Wigan was a big leap. But I loved it, and I thought, well, this is good.
Did you love it from the start?
I loved teaching physics. I loved being in a sixth form college. It was fantastic, and that's the place where I taught the students who eventually formed the Verve, which is always my big sort of claim to fame, the rock star connection. But then I went backpacking for a year because I wanted to do something else, and I wasn't thinking, do I want to be a teacher? I came into London, got a job at Holland Park after supply teaching. Yeah. So I worked at Holland Park for 7 years.
Under Mary Marsh?
Under Mary Marsh, and before that Maggie Pringle. And really that's where I really thought, that's where I became a teacher, where I realised it was my vocation to sort of, to commit to education, because until then I wasn't really certain. Yeah. And I looked around at other things for a while, but no, then in the Holland Park, big, dynamic, complicated, comprehensive school, and a lot of us were new with it, like in any, you're in a sort of cohort of new teachers joining at any time. We just found the whole thing just fantastically exciting and immensely challenging at the same time. So I thought it was a great teacher, but then I realised actually, God, I've got a lot to learn, and it was pretty tough at times. But we loved that sense of being on a bit of a mission and and sort of the sort of values around education really mattering, and as a teacher contributing to that became stronger. And then then I wanted to become a school leader, and then went on and I worked in Haringey for 7 years as a deputy head, opening a brand new school, Alexandra Park School. So I was there, was appointed as the deputy when it opened, and we recruited all the teachers and all the students and grew a school.
Which is very successful.
Yeah. So that's and then there's sort of slightly, I don't know how far you want to go, but then we went abroad for a few years just for a bit of a family change, and when I came back I was looking for a job. Actually, I don't know, I applied for the job at my old school and I didn't get it.
At Holland Park?
No, Alexandra Park. The headship came up and I thought, oh great, but actually going back was actually, well, it's a bit odd, and I didn't get the job anyway. Yeah. The next job that came up was in this grammar school in Essex. And I thought, wow, God, what's it like to work in a school which is just cast iron, outstanding, and had this really exciting, research-engaged learning community with their sort of tagline. I thought, wow, that's amazing, research-engaged learning community. And I thought that could be interesting, and it really was. I learned a lot about it. And
how long were you there for?
6 years.
Right, so you tend to do, seems like there's a lot of 6 years, 6 to 7 years.
Yeah, and sometimes it's just the way, the natural sort of feeling ready to leave, and also opportunities and jobs, the right jobs coming up. So yeah, to get a job in London, I've always wanted to, commuting to Chelmsford, where the grammar school was a nightmare. But
because you've always stayed in London.
Yes, yeah. I live in Haringey now. But this job was just perfect. When it came out, I just thought, wow, and I cycled past it and went on the way to Chelmsford every day. And I've been here, well, it's November, 3 months. 3 months here, it's been amazing.
Right, well, we'll come back. There's so many questions arising. So one question that just occurs to me, which is, I didn't know you'd gone to a comprehensive. Without going into too much detail, how do you now look, or how did you feel at the time about your education, and how do you now look back on the comprehensive that you went to, which must have been in the early 80s, late 70s?
Late 70s, yeah, from 77 to 81. I look back, funnily, sometimes people, like I always have this conversation with people who say they went to a private school or a faith school or something like that, and they say, oh yeah, but you went to a comprehensive school in Farnham in Surrey, that must have been really posh. But actually, no, it really wasn't, actually. It was very mixed, and but it was sort of setting and so on. So in fact, in different classes, you were in But actually, you know, a lot of the time it was very mixed, and there were lots of sort of people that.
Did you think you got a good education?
Did I get good? I did, but you know, I've often, it sounds terrible, and I apologise to any of my former teachers who will seem to say this, but I often ask the question then, the kind of the inspirational teacher question, and I don't think I really had that. There were some great lessons, there were some moments where we loved the teacher, they were fun, but I always felt it was sort of kind of ordinary, really, just
right.
sort of solid. You know, it was, and the subject. I liked the subjects, but I always felt I never had that sense of loving the school in a deep way. That's absolutely honest. But at the same time, I loved school. I didn't think it was because of the school. I liked going to school. I enjoyed learning.
But do you think that sense of an ordinary education, a solid education, has informed your wish, which I associate you with, to be for schooling to be exceptional and to be inspirational? Do you think the two are related, or do you think that even if you'd gone to a tremendously exciting school, you'd have always had that?
Yeah, I don't know. I mean, because when you say how I felt about it at the time, I mean, now looking back on it now, I think it was better than I thought it was at the time.
Right. Right. Okay.
And then we had a sixth form college model. So going to the sixth form was quite, you know, it felt like a liberating thing, and it was bigger, and I enjoyed studying A levels. But it was still, you know, it didn't feel. Going to university was the first time I felt that sort of excitement. But yeah, actually, the school I worked in was the Kegs, where I'd just been there. To me, that's my schooling was never like that.
Yeah.
You know, there's sort of.
But that was a selective school. I mean.
Yeah, but it was more the expectations. So I think we can discuss this. But for me, the expectations we had at Kegs of students, and they had it themselves to own things, lead things, do things. I didn't really have that. And in terms of teaching and learning, it was very. We didn't really have, you know, there was much of a say in things. We didn't really get to do that many exciting things. We did a few, but they were sort of a bit patchy.